Hello everyone. So what I wanted to do was share with you me and my husband's story of miscarriage and pregnancy loss, and sort of why I became a loss doula. It's probably going to take a couple nights to get it all out, but I'll start at the beginning. So I got pregnant after I had Isabella, my first daughter, which was a totally easy, uncomplicated pregnancy. So I found out I was pregnant, and about a week later, on Sunday night, I started having these crazy cramps. I woke up with the worst cramps ever, and I was in so much pain. And I texted my midwife back and said, "You're having a miscarriage." And I was completely in shock. It just didn't make any sense to me. And then my husband had to leave that morning to go to New York for work, which he had already had planned. So I had to go through it. This one was cramps and bleeding. To be honest, it wasn't too bad physically. I got through it in about a week, but to be alone going through my first pregnancy loss by no fault of my husband was, even though I was pregnant for 6 weeks, we had already started calling her Minnie. So me and my husband both have these Minnie Mouse tattoos in honor of her. I believe that was a girl. And then about 6 months later, pregnancy, I wanted to be prepared, so we actually decided to get the levels checked of my HCG from the beginning. They were high when we first went in, and they were double. So when I was waiting for my results from the third time that we went for the levels, I started bleeding, and then they called me that day and said that my levels had already dropped. So again, we lost another baby. And I have this white rose tattoo for that baby because we had gotten a lot of white roses. It just seemed appropriate, so I started calling her Rose when I would think of her, so I had Minnie and Rose. And then we come to Wyatt. So I'm trying not to... So Wyatt is the baby that we lost in October, and I was actually 5 months pregnant this time. This baby, we had gotten the testing done for gender, and it came back he was a boy, and we were ecstatic. We wanted a boy so bad, but it also came back that he possibly had Trisomy 13. Get a CVS to confirm, but I didn't want to do that because there is a risk of miscarriage, and it wasn't worth it to me. So he kept showing healthy on his ultrasounds, and everything was good and fine, and he measured great. So I went in for a scheduled midwife appointment, and they always check your heartbeat, or the baby's heartbeat, and they couldn't find a heartbeat. So they wanted me to go to a more advanced ultrasound. So Trisomy 13 is literally like the rarest of all of them. It almost never happens, so I don't even know if our miscarriages were, linked, or if it's just this random thing that's happened to her. Wyatt was, we named him. We knew he was a boy. We bought him clothes, started to get him toys that said his name. We went on a big family trip to Disneyland, and I'm pregnant in all of the pictures. I just want you moms out there who've had miscarriage and pregnancy loss to know, I'm here for you, and I feel your pain. I mean, to go to a doctor's appointment and have them show you your baby, just several ways that a baby can leave your body after you have a miscarriage, and I'm going to do a separate series on the more medical side of things. But as for my story, I was so excited to have a D&E, and I actually had to wait a week for the doctor to have an appointment open. And it's kind of crazy having a baby inside of you at this point. When you're farther along, sometimes your body doesn't miscarry. It wasn't a miscarriage, it was a pregnancy loss. So my body was not miscarrying. I had no signs of the baby not being alive. And so it really starts to mess with your head. You're like, is he going to come back alive? Is he really? I chose to have an unmedicated surgery because I just don't like drugs. And I know exactly what happens when you get your D&E done. So I'll talk about that another time too. But I had an unmedicated D&E. For anyone that has one of those scheduled, it is very fast. The most painful part is being dilated. I did kind of question my choices at that point, but after that, the actual procedure part was very painless. And Hey everyone, happy Sunday. I wanted to start the series on what to do when you have a miscarriage or you think you are having a miscarriage. I am not a doctor or a nurse, but I am a doula and I've had 3 myself.